All right. Okay, we are starting our live per usual every Monday at 7 p.m. And as you guys are joining in, just know that we can see your questions, comments in the chat. I always like to start off by asking our viewers to let us know where they're watching from, so we can greet you. And even though you won't be able to see everybody's comments in the chat, Narlon and I will be able to see your comments. So if you have questions, definitely post them. But the topic of today, actually, let me put my title screen up here, is learning to be a healer. All right. I think it's powerful enough to be able to find ways to heal yourself. But Narlon, you probably agree that there's nothing more powerful than being the science of learning to heal others, both
That's right.
physically, mentally, and spiritually. So, that's the focus of Diabetes 180: mental, physical, and spiritual health. And we have the pleasure of talking with my brother Narlon Edwards, with Red River Outpost.
Yes.
He's the director of the Lifestyle Center, which is, many of you may not be familiar with the term of a medical missionary center or medical missionary work, but you're going to learn about that today, as Narlon shares hit some advice. Hopefully you can help people with maybe real practical issues they're struggling with at home. That's the cool thing about lifestyle medicine.
Hmm.
Um, Everyone, you don't have to have a doctor's degree to.
That's right. That's right.
And I was just talking with you today, before we started, that you probably know more than me when it comes to natural healing and holistic methods with the training you've got. So we're going to go into we're going to give you a chance to talk about your training, what got you passionate. But just before we get started, just want to let everybody know at the end of this live, because I know some of you watching, like, I thought we were going to, who won the challenge? I want to know who won the challenge. Was it me? That's going to be at the end of our show. So at probably around 7:30, after we're talking with Brother Narlon about his work and how we all can learn to be healers, we're going to announce the winners of our challenge. Okay.
Hmm.
And then that will also give us an opportunity to sign up for future challenges. I'll give you guys a link to sign up for our wait list for the Diabetes 180 community. Because that's what we're trying to build here, is a community of support. We're stronger together, right? United we stand, divided we fall. So I'll
Right.
give you an opportunity to sign up for our Diabetes 180 community, and you get an opportunity to also, maybe learn how to be a healer at Red River Outpost. Okay, so we're going to talk about that opportunity coming up. So,
Sounds
so
great.
yeah, so let's use our time, Mr. Edwards, my friend. What
Yes.
got
Yes.
you started in this work? What's your story?
Well, my story dates back to 1996. My religion is Seventh-day Adventism. And for those who are not familiar, Adventist religion, we have a high focus on health. There's a high health emphasis. And coming into the church, naturally they teach about, how to take care of the bodies and how to take care of the mind and just holistic healing altogether. And I remember that the young lady that I met, she was in my mind very strange. She was a plant-based, no milk, no eggs, no cheese. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. This is insane.
Yeah.
Um, but I was so interested in her. At the moment, I was kind of willing to try anything. And once I began to try, that plant-based diet, we're talking about 1996, when the options were very, very limited. I mean, there's all kind of milks and vegan cheese and things like that now. But back then, the options were very, very limited. So I made those changes, and I'm telling you, I just felt so much better
Mm.
mentally, physically, spiritually. I was an athlete at the time, played basketball, and everything just felt so much better. And I was like, man, this is something that I definitely want to continue to practice. And that's something that I've kept going. And even though I knew about it, how to take care of my body physically, it wasn't until 2007, 2008 that I began to see the connection with the mental and spiritual as well. Because what
Mm.
goes into your body circulates in your blood, circulates through your brain, and there's so much scientific research now that shows the physiology of what actually takes place in the mind, why you have brain fog when you don't, when you're not taking care of your body in the right way and putting the right kind of nutrients in your body. The high fat, high cholesterol diet, which we know for sure, science has been showing that for years, that it clogs the heart and the arteries. But now they're showing that it also clogs the brain vessels as well and causes, mental blocks and brain fog.
Mhm.
Um, so in 2007, a man by the name of Thomas Jackson, he started coming around to our church in Georgia, and he started sharing more in-depth connection with the mental, the physical, and the spiritual. And even more impressive to me, he began to show those things in the Bible, which, I love the Bible. He began to show those principles in the Bible, how people are depressed in the Bible, how people change their lifestyle in the Bible, and they got such positive results. So then I was saying, I want to learn that. And
Mhm.
that's the terminology that you use, medical missionary. It's kind of learning naturally how to take care of the body and how to practically take care of others as well. And
Mhm.
so I took a short curriculum for 8 weekends. Normally it's 4 months, but because of my work schedule, they did, like a course for those who are the working class. And my
Mhm.
wife and I and a few others, we took the course, 20 others actually. We took the course and then we learned it. And then I was sharing with you that I immediately put it to use.
Let's
Uh,
go.
it's, yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was just telling my daughter about it because my daughter, she's homeschooled,
Mhm.
and we give her flashcards to memorize her timetables and memorize, her things for school. And I was telling her, my wife and I, when we took this medical missionary course, we didn't really know what we were doing. So
Mhm.
we had flashcards to kind of help us, and we'll just drill each other and test each other. And then, we started sharing these simple things at our church, and then doors just begin to open all around the world for us to go and share about how we could take better care of our bodies. Much more could be said, but that was a mouthful. I'll give you an
That's
opportunity to jump in, so
uh,
so we could,
but that's
yeah.
amazing. So you're telling me 8 weekends, not even like full weeks, eight
No, just
weekends,
8 weekends. 8 weekends.
learned enough to be a healer. Not a medical back, you're not a doctor or nurse, but you learned with an intensive lifestyle,
Exactly.
your training, 8 weeks to be healing, and now you're directing a center, right?
That's
Do you
right.
think? Do you think that's something you're just super smart and you just
No, no,
you,
not
you're,
at all.
you're just not
Far from it. Far from it. It's
yeah.
it's all about dedication. I tell people that, it's all about how much you dedicate to your craft. There's
Mm,
a statement that my daughter's violin teacher, she shared with my daughter. He shared it with my daughter. He's an excellent teacher. And it was actually a statement that he made from Kevin Durant. And I hope I can remember exactly how it went. And he said, talent takes you to a certain talent take you to a certain level.
mhm,
And the statement went something along the lines of, um, talent beats out, oh, sorry, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
yeah. I like
Hard
that.
work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. So when a person is naturally gifted,
Yeah.
they could they're gonna
Mhm.
be better than the average person.
Person,
But if a
yeah,
person is not as talented and they work hard,
yeah.
talent takes you but so far. And what the teacher said, it says after a while, you won't be able to tell the difference of who was naturally talented or who worked hard to get their talent.
Mhm.
So talent only takes you so far. So I don't think I'm anything special. We were just really focused and dedicated, and we are
Mhm.
still that way today. And I
Obviously.
think that's what really took us to where we are.
So, in your opinion, we all can learn to be healers. Everyone
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's
can.
very simple. It's very simple. I mean, extremely simple. We could share some of the simple principles of it, but it's not anything, you know, uh, rocket science, or it's not anything that you have to have some special brain capacity. It's just
Mhm.
knowing some basics of anatomy and physiology, and know the 8 principles, the 8 laws of health, I call them. And that's pretty much the gist of how we can learn how to be healers and to take care of the human frame.
I'm glad you mentioned the 8 laws of health. That's something that many Seven Adventists are familiar with. But can you explain to our viewers what are the 8 laws of health? What is that?
Yeah, so the best way to memorize it is acronyms. There's quite a few acronyms out there.
Mhm.
There's New Start. I like the one God's Plan, because I believe that God is at the forefront of all healing. Jesus is the great healer. He's a great physician. And I know that there's many ideologies and ideas out there, but as a Christian, I'm Christ forward in healing, just recognizing in the Bible what He's done for me, and how I've used those biblical principles to help others as well. But the God's Plan acronym is number one is godly trust. And we believe that's the foundation for chronic stress, chronic depression, when a person have not learned how to cope with their mental dispositions and their history by learning how to give it to God and recognize that God is the healer. A lot of time when we think about Jesus, we think about his physical healing. because we see him heal the blind, we see him cause the lame to walk, we see him cause the dead to be raised, we see him cause, many physical people that were in malady, the
Mm-hmm.
paralytic to rise up and take up his bed and walk. We see those, but most people don't focus on also the book of Luke chapter 4 and verse 18, where he said that I've come to heal the brokenhearted. He
Mm-hmm.
says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. He says, take my yoke upon you. So Christ also recognized that there's many that has a lot of mental disposition that they can overcome. And he says, I also came to heal the brokenhearted. And that's why he often asks, wilt thou be made whole? So the
Mm-hmm.
godly trust focuses on the mental. It focuses on trusting God. And there's a principle in the book of Proverbs chapter 3 that speaks on that. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Most Christians are familiar with that portion, which is verse 5 and 6. But oftentimes, verse 8 is left out, and where it says, and it shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. So it says, trusting in God is healthy in navel and marrow in your bones. And in the bone marrow, we know we have the red blood cells and white blood cell production. So it not only does it produce life, but it also produces white blood cells to fight for that life. And that
Mm-hmm.
all comes from trusting in God. So there's a physiology that comes with it. So that's a godly trust. Then
Mm-hmm.
the rest are pretty basic. Open air, getting some open, fresh air every day. Daily exercise, exercising daily. Open air daily exercise. Sunshine, getting sunshine. Proper rest, getting enough sleep at night. Lots of water. Always temperate, and then proper nutrition to come into the body as well. And these principles are essential because America and the world are plagued by lifestyle diseases that physicians are now saying that they are completely preventable by making comprehensive lifestyle changes.
Mm-hmm. Love it. I love it. So
Yeah.
if I was to summarize them from what I'm hearing, trusting in God for a lot of people, they determine to be their higher power,
Mm-hmm.
source of power, having rest, open air or clean air,
Mm-hmm.
um, water, exercise,
Uh-huh.
uh, and did I summarize all of them?
Temperance.
Temperance,
Temperance
yeah.
and nutrition. And
Temperance.
nutrition.
You can't, of course, how can you leave nutrition out? So those are the tenets, and all of us. Now, there are some people who don't have access to some of these things. Let's say, for example, you're living in inner city,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of pollution, air pollution. Are they just doomed, or or you might have
Yeah.
people, many people. I think they said I can't remember the statistic, but something as high as 80% of lower income areas don't have access to a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
What are your sort of recommendations for those who may not be able to get some of those aspects of the eight laws?
Yeah. Just do as much as you can. I grew up in New York City. We were just talking about that. And what you do notice in New York City is that they do have parks. And I mean, it's New York is as city as it could get. And you're still not going to get the best quality air as far as where we are now. But my principle is always do your best and let God make up the rest.
I like
God
that.
always asks for maximum effort. And God wants us to be participators in the process of healing. And oftentimes you see when you look at that paralytic, you know, when you look at the man by the pool of Bethesda, he asks him, wilt thou be made whole? Are you willing? And then he says, you rise and take up your bed and walk. He didn't pick up the man and pull him up. He says, you take up your bed, you walk. Will you be made whole? So what
Yes,
Christ is saying, you do your very best and watch me make up the rest. So I think the
nice.
same thing could apply.
Hmm.
If you can't get the fresh air that you could get, go to a park and get the best air you could get. If you
Hmm.
can't get the best water you could get, go to the store and buy the best water you can get.
Hmm.
If you can't, or nutrition, the proper nutrition is available in most places. There's stores and farmers markets in most major city areas that you could get those.
Hmm.
But pretty much you just do the very best you can in the environment
Okay. Yeah.
that you're in. And of
Um,
course, I'll advocate moving out of the cities if the opportunity presents itself, because more and more people are doing that, especially during COVID. There's a mass exodus from the cities, and a lot of those people realize, man, there's such a better quality of life in these rural districts, and I'm a beneficiary of that right now.
yeah, I agree. I agree. Your Red River Outpost, and we got to get into that for sure. That you're directing. You actually have a farm component, right? So I'm
Oh yeah,
guessing
we do.
teach people to grow food. Is growing food one of the essentials to not only finding healing of being a healer?
Absolutely. That the nutrition component, we could talk about it on many levels. Number one is understanding what proper nutrition is, because what I say to most people is that uh, America is advocating the SAD diet, and that's the acronym, which is the main acronym is the Standard American Diet.
Mhm.
And I have a few acronyms that, that I've added on to that. The Standard American Diet leads to the Standard American Disease, which leads to the Standard American Drugs, which Standard American Doctors, which lead to the Standard American Drugs, which ultimately lead to the Standard American Disease and death. So, so we
Wow.
got to get off. We have to get off that Standard American diet.
We need, sounds
Um,
like we need to change.
we need we need to make drastic changes. And I
Mm,
like to, study those who are advocating health. And an essayist by the name of Shannon Bromley, she says, we have a disease care system. We have a very profitable disease care system. It doesn't want you to die and it doesn't want you to get well. It just wants you to keep coming back for the chronic care. So
maintenance.
the medical industry, and I'm not knocking it because some of the doctors that I'm talking about, they are medical professionals. But
Mhm.
as it stands, if we're not moving intelligently and recognizing that something is wrong with this picture, why the number one cause of death in America is not violence, it's not guns, it's not what's happening on the streets of Chicago. It's actually what's happening at our dinner tables. It's what's happening at our breakfast table and our lunch tables. Because the
Mm,
number one cause of death is heart disease, which kills almost 700,000 people alone in the United States. And
mm,
cancer is not too far behind, over 600,000 as well. So
yeah.
just these two diseases alone, we're talking about 1.2, 1.3 million people are dying.
Wow.
Um, and to do the same thing and expecting different results is insanity. So if we
Mhm.
want different results, we have to make different decisions in our lives. So nutrition plays a very pivotal role.
Mhm.
Just in general, just to start off by making the changes to say, you know what, if we're continue on the high fat, high cholesterol diet, which leads to these diseases and expect different results, it's just not going to work. And then we
Mhm.
could get to the next layer now of saying, well, how do I get the best nutrients available? And the way you get the best nutrients available is the best growing your own food. Recognize not everyone could do that. We are opting to do that because we could control the amount of minerals and nutrients that's in our soil, which translate to the amount of minerals and nutrients that's in the food. But if not, there's local farmers markets and other produce providers that you can get better than what you get in most places.
That's awesome to hear. I think that's something we want to do on our channel eventually. I want to have an episode on how to specifically how to grow, how to plant. I could benefit from it myself. I've been saying for the longest time I want to grow
Yeah,
my own.
yeah.
I probably need to come to Red River Outpost and learn.
Check us
Um,
out.
yeah, yeah. JJ, I just want to read her comment. She says, "Do the very best we can in the environment we are in is the best advice ever, ever, ever." Yeah, it really is.
That's
We
right.
got to do the best we can. And you can't always change your environment, especially the pollutions, toxins, the environmental, industrial chemicals that we're surrounded by. But 3 times a day, you have an opportunity to eat for life or eat for, like you said, death and disease.
That's right.
That's you have the most control. So, food component, of course, is a big part of learning to be a healer, right? You train
Oh,
people how to eat
absolutely.
properly.
Hmm.
So, what are the other things that we're learning at Red River Outpost to be healers?
So let me just tell a little bit about our program. So we run a natural lifestyle program,
Yeah.
and we have various options. We have a 7-day program, a 10-day program. We also have a 14 and a 21-day program. And there's a process that we take each person through. And
Mhm.
the process is first cleanse. Uh, and you get all the toxins out of the body, get all the waste out of the body. Some of us have had, buildup and things that's been in our body for many, many years. So
Mhm.
we do a 5-day cleanse. So no solid foods. We for 5 days there's juices and that you get the nutrients and there's broth that you get the electrolytes. So we do make sure that the body's not robbed of nutrients and minerals during that process. But at the same time, we want to get the system flushed out. And then we begin to really build it back up with the fresh juices and the fresh fruits. Start off with an alkaline diet and then while the people are here, they're on a highly nutritious plant-based diet for the time period. And in most cases, we'll see their blood pressure regulated, their blood sugar also regulated in the time that they're here. And we find that when people leave and continue with the program, they get great results.
Mm,
Um, so we share that program because it's the most effective in getting the body that reset that it needs. And if a
mm.
person has these lifestyle diseases that's plaguing America, we're here to help. We're here to assist, and we've had very, very good results over the years.
What are some of
Um,
those common diseases, if you don't mind me asking, that you're working with?
the most common, of course, is we get cancer, diabetes, and hypertension. Those are the three most common ones that we get. You
Okay.
do get the arthritis. You do get neuropathy. We also get a lot of mental health. Mental health is a major disease that causes the physical as well, and most people don't realize that connection.
Mm,
So, as you mentioned, healing is the mental, physical, and spiritual. And we realize that there's some people that might come that are following most of the laws, but they might be missing that godly trust. And they're having the physiological effects of disease, even though they're doing the things that's right physiologically, because they don't realize how much the mental affects the spiritual.
mm,
And this
mm,
is scientific research now since 1930 that they're saying. We finally realized in 1930 that the things that we put into that our mental disposition, anxiety, grief, depression, lack of repentance, lack of forgiveness, they actually lead to physiological diseases.
yeah.
And I have slides that share that there's specific organs and systems that are affected by certain mental dispositions. And scientific research is showing that now. And so we deal with the mental very heavily as well because we realize that there's a connection between the mental and the physical.
Okay, yeah. So you start off with a detox, what you said about
Hmm.
5 days.
Five
Then
days.
you mainly juicing,
Yeah, juicing
and
during that time period. And
okay,
we do also potato broth.
okay, and then you transition to a plant-based diet.
Correct. Hmm.
Gotcha. And all throughout the time there, you're probably incorporating, like you said, the 8 laws of health: uh,
Absolutely.
exercise, sunlight, learning to trust, and release stress, because I think that's a big thing that we tend to divide: the stressors in our life and the illness in our life. But you're saying they're one, right?
Oh
The
yeah.
mental. Yeah.
And going back to those laws that you mentioned, we're in a very serene environment here, and the objective is to take them away from the hustle and bustle of life, and not just give them a physical detox, but give them also a mental detox. The cell phones and the Instagrams and the Facebooks, those are the number one cause of depression now. So the idea when they come here is to lay all those things aside. You're in the beauty of the hills and the mountains. You have the creeks flowing. You have the greenery, which I'll show a B-roll of our property. And you just imagine yourself in this serene environment and you're walking in nature. You're getting the sunlight in nature. You're getting that crisp, fresh air. You're eating a proper nutrition. You're learning about the healing powers of God. And we're teaching the principles of temperance. You're learning, how to cook and practice these principles when you go back home. You get your body detox. There's massage. There's hydrotherapy. There's a sauna. So it's a spa-like environment. So
Nice.
you're getting that, and then at the same time you're addressing the mental illnesses because we have coaching to coach you through the history, the CBTs, and other things that might be plaguing you to make sure that when you leave there as a holistic person.
Yeah. I know one question that people are going to ask, and before I go into that, um,
Hmm.
let me make this comment that Ms. Collins writes here: isn't it interesting that we figured this out in 1930, but here we are in 2025, and we still have companies and institutions that refuse to accept this and coming to continue to perpetuate the very things that cause stress and anxiety in terms of psychological inputs. And you mentioned that too. There's a cycle. There's a cycle in our healthcare system of keeping people sick. And
Yeah.
that's, I think it's so important to learn to be a healer. And I know a lot of people, this might goes into my question. A lot of people would ask, well, are you guys working with doctors? Are you working with, are you all lifestyle medicine trained? Who are we working with when we are at your center?
Yeah, we do. We partner with quite a few different physicians that specializes in mental health as well, and some that specialize in, the regular physical health. But they all train, all the physicians that we work with, they're trained in nutrition, they're trained in knowing how to actually address the cause of diseases.
Hmm.
Most physicians are more focused on symptomatic treatment, and that's what drug medication does. It doesn't address the underlying problem. I'm not saying that there's not a place for it, but it's not designed to address the underlying problem. It's designed to address the symptoms of the problem. So we work with physicians that's, get to the root of it. If I have hypertension, what is the cause? If I have diabetes, what is the cause? And once you remove the cause, then you've also found the cure, because the cure is in the cause.
Awesome.
And just to give a simple example, as we look at our arteries are normally opened, and when we have a high fat, high cholesterol diet, they get really clogged, and then it's a smaller opening for the blood to get through. So the blood, in order for the blood to get through, the part has to beat a lot faster. And
Mm,
most medications are designed to thin the blood to make it go through the hole, when the issue is the clog that's there. So by simply removing what caused it, which is the high fat, high cholesterol diet, then once you implement that and remove the high fat, high cholesterol diet, this begin to break up. The arterial blockages begin to break up, and then the arteries opens up, and it becomes, rubbery again. And Bill Clinton is one of those. He, after his second bypass surgery, he said, "I need to find some physicians that actually address the root of the issue," and he did.
you
And he
did.
said the arterial blockage broke up, and the calcium deposits broke up, and then now he's slim, trim, and in excellent shape.
Yeah.
So we do work with physicians, but we work with the ones that addresses the root cause of the issues.
The illness, and that's
Hmm.
what we if we want to help people in a real way, we need to learn to do. So we have about 5 minutes before we go into the slides that you have, and talking about upcoming services that people could take advantage of in at Red River Outpost. Is there any gems when it comes to home remedies that people can start doing now? I know one big one that people worry about as diabetics is neuropathy, pain. Another common thing is arthritis.
Hmm.
And then, of course, we could even talk about, since we're going into springtime, so maybe not be a problem so much, but upper respiratory infections. What's some quick gems or remedies that you could recommend?
Yeah, for the upper respiratory, one of the things that I highly recommend, and it's a remedy that we keep in our home.
Mhm.
Um, we call it the onion cough drop. So what you do is you cut a layer of onion, then put a layer of honey, another layer of onion, another layer of honey, and you do that until you finish the onion, and then you put a few drops of eucalyptus oil in it, and just let that sit overnight. And then you notice when you come back the next day, the honey becomes very liquid, and then you take 1 tablespoon of that as needed. And
Mhm.
I've had so many people that has coughs and all kind of respiratory issues, and it has worked out to be a great remedy for
Nice.
them. So that's a great one.
Mhm.
We also have a pain salve where you mix some kind of oil base with a very high HU unit of um, cayenne pepper, and then you put some eucalyptus oil and in that as well. And then and I have the exact recipe. I don't have it in my mind fully, but then you just put that on the affected area for arthritis and other issues, and it works out to be great. For inflammatory, which is arthritis and ankle sprains, those are inflammatory illnesses. So we have quite a few things, but a potato poultice is great.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite is actually the cabbage poultice. And this one is very simple. You take a leaf of cabbage, you beat it until it bleeds, and I call
Right.
it the gospel of the cabbage. Like Jesus was beaten until he bled, and then you put it to the affected area. And the Bible says, "With his stripes we're healed." And then you put that on the affected area, wrap it with some saran wrap, leave it overnight, and it works miraculous results. So those
Wow.
are some quick remedies that come to mind off the bat.
That's not like, we gotta have you on and maybe just talk about remedies next time. That's
Oh,
that's
that'll be
that's
great.
that'd be great. Actually, next week, guys, those who are watching, spread the word. We're gonna have Miss O'Neill on again, and I'm thinking the topic's gonna be that, how to make your own home remedies, being natural as possible. So, thank you for sharing that's gonna help a lot of people. Those little gems. So yeah, let's go into so if I want a person that wants to take advantage and learn what you learned, so I can teach
Hmm.
others, how can I take advantage of that?
Well, I'm on this slide already. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually share a quick footage of our campus so people can see what kind of environment
Cool.
they'll come into, and then I'll share some upcoming events and dates that we have. So hopefully you
Perfect.
got. Are you able to see it now? Oh, there we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. I think we all can see that. Beautiful.
So that's our drone footage. So that building that you're seeing that is being flown over, that is our wellness building. That's where the operation is. That's where the guests come in for their various illnesses, and we take care of them. Those are our greenhouses that we are ramping up for this year right now. And then you have the barn. And as you go further back, we have fruit trees, we have raspberries, we have blackberries, we have um, uh, blueberries as well. And you can kind of see them. And then that's a little garden plot to the right as well. So as
Wow.
you can see, it's a very serene environment that is built specifically for healing.
Hmm.
Um, as far as upcoming dates, in fact, before I share the dates, let me share a few more things. How much time do we have left?
As much time as you can give us, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So let me just run through these.
Yeah. Most of our lives actually can run up to 40 to 45 minutes. So take your time. Yeah.
Okay. Get
Yeah.
back
Because I
over
think
here.
a lot of people, and we didn't ask the most important question: where are you located?
Oh, we're located in a small town in Kentucky, east of Lexington. It's called Stanton. So
Okay.
it's about hour east of Lexington.
Okay.
So for those who are interested, this our website is Red River. Well, we have two, but redriverwellness.org focuses on the healing portion, redriverwellness.org. We also have an Outpost site which shares, it's more like the umbrella website that shares everything that we do. It talks about our farm, it talks about our training school, talks about our seminars that we have coming up, and so this is a QR code that you can click on, you could scan, or you can just go to redriveroutpost.org or
I'll try to.
redriverwellness.org.
I'll actually put it in the chat too, so you guys who are online can click on the link there. So
Hmm.
I'll throw that there.
And this is actually a new development. If you want to keep abreast as to the things that are happening at our organization, this is called Red River Insights, and the what URL for this one is Red River Outpost /news. And every week we'll share update as to the things that are taking place. And right there, that first line in the green bar, you can subscribe to our newsletter, our e-newsletter, and once a month you get an update as to the things that are happening on campus. And that's a
Very,
QR code that takes you directly there as well.
very nice.
And we also have a lot of free handouts and information on our website as well. But as
Mhm.
far as events that are coming up, we do have Barbara O'Neill coming in person. And this will be April 8th to 12th. So this is right around the corner. And that will be in a beautiful area of the Red River Gorge. You can see on the right-hand side, it is an absolutely gorgeous area that's known for rock climbing. It is a top 10 rock climbing destination in the entire world.
Yeah.
Top 5 in the US. Some has it as number 1. But there you have zip lines and the beautiful pictures you see under the cave. That's gorge underground. Beautiful hiking trails. Um, so it's a tourist destination, and we're gonna have her there because she loves nature, and she'll be joined by a wall cross, and it's gonna be a mixture of having the gorge experience and at the same time learning about your health.
Yeah.
So you hear lectures, and you could go outside and enjoy the beautiful scenery of nature with beautiful hikes and canoeing and caving and zip lining. So that's gonna be a very very rich experience.
Yeah.
And these are our events coming up. The first one that we just mentioned already, Barbara O'Neill. So that's April 8 to 12. Then April 17 to 20, we'll have our survival training. And that's if you want to learn to live outdoor without, the things that are makes us very comfortable now. We're gonna have our survival training that's 17th to 20th of April. And then we have our annual camp meeting. Our camp meeting last year, we had Barbara O'Neill. We'll be having her again this year. And that will be June 25 to 29. And last year, we had about 700 people in a beautiful area as well, and lots of festivities and activities there that will enjoy. And then going back to the medical missionary training, which is, as you mentioned, teaching people about how to simple methods of healing. We want to do some for the children. What we've learned is that when you catch the children at an early age, they have better outcomes in life.
Mm.
And our wellness directors, they've ran these kind of programs in Venezuela and other places, and they realize that the ones that they catch at an early age, they become more health conscious, and they themselves becomes facilitators of healing, leading people to the true healer, which is Christ, and teaching them how to take care of their bodies.
Mhm.
And then uh, the end of September, mid-September, early September rather, September 7 to 14, we have an adult training for as medical missionaries, where they'll also be learning the principles of how to take care of the body and share that with others.
I'm gonna maximize
And
this a little bit. So sorry, I
that's
want
right.
people.
Thank you. And the last thing I'll share is on the right-hand side, you have our session dates. So if you have the hypertension, the diabetes, the mental health struggles, or the hypertension, arthritis, whatever it may be, these are the dates that we have this upcoming year that you can join us for one of our wellness sessions. It also has the contact information at the bottom, uh, with our email and website, redriverwellness.org, as well as the 606-448-3048. That's the number you can reach us to get more information about one of our upcoming sessions. So that's it as far as events are concerned.
Nice, nice. I love it, man. Very, very good. Thank you for sharing. So, guys, definitely look into Red River Outpost. I hope you guys took screenshots or you click on the link in the chat there. If you're interested in learning to be a healer, if you're interested in learning to heal yourself, they're doing the work. Coach JJ has a compliment for you, Narlon. I praise your work, and I hope you are able to get funding for the government and the public to help contribute to costs.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to have you back on sometime, man. I've had a
Love
good
to.
time. Yeah,
Praise
but I know
God.
you're a busy man. So we'll let you go, and we'll ask our viewers to stay on so we can announce the winners for our live. But thank you so much for your time, Narlon. It's
Thank
been
you.
blessings.
Blessings to you.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and announce the challenge, the winners of our live. Right, I'm gonna use this little box here. Forgive, it's not very elaborate, elegant, but now for the many, some of you probably watching, like, what are you talking about? So the last 3 days, we had a challenge issued publicly for anyone to get involved in. What you were supposed to do was eat no sugar. So how'd you guys do? I don't know. I don't know if anyone of our participants are watching. I'll definitely contact the winners if you're not watching. But the challenge was to avoid all added sugars in your diet for 3 days. No refined sugars, and sticking with only intact whole grains, fruits, legumes, things like that as far as carbs. And you guys, many of you guys did well. I think we're all winners, but we got to pick out somebody to give $100 to. So we're gonna figure out who's gonna get first place prize, which is a $100 gift card. Second place prize, which would be a great cookbook I use myself, How Not to Diet by Dr. Greger, great plant-based cookbook. And the third prize is a fun t-shirt. All right, so we're gonna have only 3 winners, though we had more than that involved in the challenge. But again, like I said, it's all winners. We're all winners. We're just gonna see who's lucky today. All right, so I know some people might be a little nervous because, like, man, I've had won something for having to starve myself from my favorite treats and snacks. All right, so let's see. Wow. Okay, luck at the draw. It's always luck at the draw. Carrie Ann gets our first place prize for the $100 gift card. All right, so the way I figured this basically would be done would be every post you entered gets entered in the box. Okay, so if you posted often, you got more names in the box than others. So second place prize is Sophia. Sophia, you get the How Not to Diet cookbook, which in my opinion is even better than the gift card, because that cookbook is awesome. It's got many recipes that are going to promote not just disease prevention, but also disease reversal. These are the Dr. Greger. He's amazing. What he does is he studies the studies on nutrition, and he promotes a diet that is minimally processed, but also rich in taste. The foods actually taste really good. So you're going to enjoy that cookbook. All right, so who's going to get the fun t-shirt for our last drawing? Let me just shake it up a bit. All right, and put my hand in the box. Oh, we got Sophia again. Well, you're probably in there more than one Sophia because you did really good. So I know this would happen. I'd probably end up pulling the same name. Okay, Sophia's again. Let's see if I can shake this up. the best way to do this is actually to probably take Sophia out, because she killed it. Sophia, if you're watching, you did great. So yeah, we're gonna reach out to you and get your address. All right, and man, I'm not shaking this up good enough. I know what I'll have to do is probably take some of these out and put them back in, so I don't keep getting them. All right. Okay. Shake these up so I don't keep on drawing Sophia's name. All right, Joan. All right, so Joan, you are our winner of the third place prize. So first place we got Carrie Ann, Sophia second place, and Joan for third place. Like I said, it's a luck of the draw. I love you guys all. You're all winners, okay, in my book, whether or not your name was pulled out the box, right? Everybody who was in this challenge is in this box, but only 3 names could be picked. So what I'll reach out to you, the winners, through Facebook. I think all of us are connected on Facebook, and I'll let you know how you'll receive your prize. All right, I'll just basically need your mailing address. But this isn't going to be the last time we do challenges like this. This is not going to be the last time that we give you an opportunity to win some awesome prizes. The best way to keep on being involved and participating in future challenges is through our online community. So with Diabetes 180, we specialize in private coaching. That's our flagship program, coaching people to reverse diabetes through 3-month programs. But we're actually launching next week, starting next week, an online community. So you have a chance to join like-minded individuals who are looking to prevent or reverse chronic diseases, especially diabetes. And if you're looking to be part of this family, that I've created, then I'm going to give you an opportunity to join a waiting list. So I'll put the QR code for the waiting list there. If you've already completed a survey, some of you guys have already done my survey, you're already on the wait list. So I'm going to put you on the wait list. You don't need to worry about this code or the link here. The link's going to be in the chat section, but that's the QR code if you want to scan it. Let me go back to it. So with what is going to be part of the community? With the community, not only do you get obviously the community support of those who are trying to eat for health and not just for taste and reverse disease, get to the ideal weight. Everyone's goal is different, but we're also going to provide bi-weekly live Q&As, personal live Q&As with me. I'm licensed in family medicine, so I have a lot of value I can bring in helping you with your health. But I also specialize in nutrition and with a focus on diabetes reversal. So you'll get bi-weekly Q&As so that you can be part of that community through this online membership. You also get access to courses. So we'll provide courses that train you on how to reverse diabetes and how to manage your weight through a whole food plant-based diet. And three pillars of our program is mind, body, and spirit. So those courses develop those 3 aspects of our being so that we could all experience 180 in health and being healthy in mind, healthy in body, healthy in spirit. And thirdly, what you get is cooking demos, and fourthly, you get workout videos. So that's something you get with our online community. Scan the QR code if you want to be part of that community. It's waitlist. Okay, so it launches next week, and I'll give more information online. So congratulations to our winners. This is not going to be the last challenge we'll do. This is not our first either, but it definitely won't be our last. If you want to be involved in future challenges, join the wait list of our community, and you'll always be first in line. All right. So, beloved, I pray above all things that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. We'll see you next week on Monday.